Welcome to True Crime Cases, where we delve into the darkish and twisted testimonies of real existence. Crimes today, we find a tale of suburban deceit and lethal ardor that greatly surprised the network of Pineville, North Carolina. This is the case of Amelia, a housewife whose mystery love affair with a neighbor's son caused a grisly murder. Amelia became a 12 months vintage stay-at-domestic mother who lived in Pineville, North Carolina, and top center-class suburb of Charlotte. Amelia was very lively in her network. She became a member of the nearby P, wherein she prepared fundraisers and activities for the college. She became also a devoted member of her church's choir, where she sang each Sunday. Amelia had a friendly demeanor and was continually inclined to assist others. She turned into considered a pillar of the network, a person everyone ought to depend upon. Amelia had once dreamed of becoming a teacher, however, those desires have been put on preserve. Whilst she married Henry, a hit company attorney, decided to consciousness on raising their two kids, Lucas 17, and Defense Force for 14. Regardless of her busy lifestyles, Amelia constantly observed time for her circle of relatives and pals. At the back of her best suburban existence, Amelia felt unfulfilled and lonely. Henry, 48, had been running long hours at his jobs, handling high-profile banks and helping them locate prison loopholes to evict humans from their homes in the course of the first-rate recession. This created a distance between them, and Amelia regularly felt like she turned into dwelling in a gilded cage. She craved pleasure and attention, something she wasn't getting at home. Inside the days before her demise, loss of life, Amelia changed into busy. Along with her typical sports, she was planning the church's upcoming Easter event, making decorations and organizing volunteers. She changed into additionally visible at the neighborhood Starbucks, sipping a latte and chatting with friends. To the outside global Amelia seemed happy and content, however, interior she became suffering. Amelia's personality changed into warm and alluring. She had a grin for absolutely everyone and a kind word for the ones in need. Her friends described her as generous and worrying. She dreamed of an existence in which she felt honestly loved and liked. However, little did all people understand, Amelia had observed this attention inside the palms of William, the 18-12 months vintage son of her neighbor. Amelia's secret affair with Jason furnished the joys she longed for. She documented her feelings and reports in a hidden journal, expressing the excitement and guilt she felt in her very last days. Amelia was torn between her obligations as a mother and spouse and her desire for something greater. But on the morning of March 21, 2012, Amelia's life would be tragically reduced short, leaving the community of Pineville in shock and mourning. On the morning of March 21, 2012, around 7:30 a.m., Henry came domestic early from a commercial enterprise experience. To wonder his wife, he had been away in NY Metropolis for a meeting with a massive bank client and took an early flight lower back to Pineville, looking forward to locate Amelia making breakfast for their kids. Henry instead walked right into a scene of horror. Whilst Henry entered the kitchen, he discovered Amelia lying on the ground in a pool of blood. The room became a multitude with broken dishes and blood splatters on the partitions and ground. Amelia were shot and stabbed a couple of times. Extra shocking, the number 3 to Z4 was carved into her stomach. Henry, bed in whole shock, dropped his suitcase and rushed to her side. However, it changed into clear. She became already long gone. Henry, immediately known as 911, his voice trembled as he told the dispatcher about the scene he had walked into. He stored, repeating, "She's long gone, she's long passed," over and over. The dispatcher tried to hold him calm and inform him to look ahead to the police. To reach Henry, stayed by Lisa Bassett, crying and holding her hand, unable to realize what had took place. The first police officer arrived within men's Officer Diller, who changed into on patrol nearby, replied to the decision. Whilst she entered the house and noticed the scene, she became greatly surprised, but quick took manage of the state of affairs. She guided Henry far away from the body and secured the region, anticipating the detectives to arrive. Henry was nevertheless in shock. He ought to slightly communicate, because the officers tried to impeach him about the activities made. As much as his discovery, he kept saying he couldn't accept as true what this became occurring, and that Amelia become long gone. Lisa's body turned into taken to the medical expert's workplace for an autopsy. Whilst the detectives started their investigation, the information of Lisa's homicide quick unfold through Penville. It became pronounced on local television stations like OCTV, and pals accumulated outdoor the Turner domestic, trying to recognize how this type of horrible aspect may want to manifest in their quiet network. The Penville police arrived quickly after Henry's 911 call. On March 21, 2012, Officer Nara Miller, who became patrolling nearby, was the primary on the scene. She discovered Henry in a kingdom of shock. Keeping Lisa's hand, Officer Miller, without delay, secured the location and get in touch with for backup. Detective Isabella and Officer Leo, both pro-investigators, arrived quickly after Detective Williams, acknowledged for her meticulous nature, surveyed the chaotic crime scene. The kitchen turned into a damaged. Dishes and blood have been everywhere. Amelia had been shot, after which stabbed multiple times. The variety 304 was carved into her belly, a chilling and mysterious element. Detective Williams and Officer Vidria started their investigation. Methodically, they photographed crime scene from each angle, documenting the blood splatters, broken gadgets, and B's body. They used luminol to discover hidden bloodlines and accrued fingerprints from surfaces like countertops and doorknobs. DNA samples had been taken from various gadgets, hoping to find something that should become aware of the killer. The brutality of the assault recommended against the law of ardor. Detective Williams taken into consideration feasible motives. The quantity carved into Lisa's belly appeared private, as though the killer desired to ship a message. They observed no signs of compelled entry, suggesting Lisa knew her attacker. Henry turned into taken to the police station for further wondering. Nevertheless, in surprise, he struggled to offer coherent solutions. Detective Williams knew they had to exchange cautiously with him. They asked about his recent business ride, his courting with Amelia, and if she had any enemies. Henry cited his long paintings hours and their strained marriage, however, denied any involvement in her demise. The forensic crew persevered to gather evidence. They discovered a partially burnt die in the fireplace, which contained entries to chart to be legible. This discovery brought a new layer to the investigation, revealing something that would likely be the purpose in the back of the murder. The police can also pass the community, interviewing associates and searching for witnesses. A few buddies stated hearing loud noises the night earlier then, but did not assume a great deal of it. Others spoke tremendously of Amelia and her involvement inside the network, expressing shock that the sort of tragedy ought to occur. Neighborhood news stations like Dus Octave suggested the murder, and the community of Penville was gripped by using fear and interest. Detective Williams knew they had to clear up this case quick to bring peace to the community and justice for Amelia. The primary person the police investigated was Henry, Amelia's husband. Henry, 48, become a successful company attorney regarded for his stern noon's attitude. He labored lengthy hours with high-profile banks, regularly supporting them to find criminal loophole that might permit them to evict humans from their homes at some stage in the extraordinary recession. This traumatic jog had created a distance between him and Amelia. Notwithstanding this, Henry changed into deeply devoted to his family and had no regarded history of violence. After discovering Lisa's body at the morning of March 21, 2012, Henry became in a country of shock. He called 911 right away and turned into visibly shaken whilst the police arrived. Detective Tiana Williams and Officer Leo knew they needed to question Henry very well. They took him to the police station to get his assertion. At the station, Henry sat in a small sterile interrogation room. He changed into light and had darkish circles below his eyes from lack of sleep. Detective Williams started with fundamental questions about his ride to Big Apple Town, his relationship with Amelia and her family life. Henry defined that he were away on a commercial enterprise ride in Lower Back. Early to wonder Amelia, he described their marriage as strained, but insisted he could never damage her. Henry's responses had been cooperative, but packed with grief. He repeatedly said his love for Amelia, his devastation over her dying. He admitted that their dating were tough lately due to his long hours at work, but he denied any involvement in her murder. Henry's sharp legal professional sat beside him, ensuring that Henry's rights had been included all through the interrogation. The police also seemed into Henry's alibi. They established his flight info and showed he had certainly been in Big Apple City for assembly with a first-rate financial institution. His colleagues and customers sponsored up his story, presenting a solid alibi for the time of the homicide, regardless of Henry's cooperation and sturdy alibi. Detective Williams and her crew nevertheless had to recollect him a suspect. The brutality of the crime cautioned a private reason, and as Lisa's husband Henry became a #1 person of interest, but with none concrete evidence linking into the scene, the police had to hold their investigation and inspect other capacity suspects. The subsequent suspect the police investigated turned into William, the 18-year vintage son of Lisa's neighbor. Jason had just graduated from high faculty and was planning to foremost in engineering. He turned into properly liked within the network, regarded for his appeal and appropriate looks. However, a mystery affair among him and Amelia had these days come to light, adding a brand new twist to the research. Detective Isabella and Officer Leo called Jason in for questioning. Jason arrived at the police station looking worried. He sat in the interrogation room, fidgeting along with his arms. The detective started out by means of asking him approximately his courting with Amelia. Jason admitted to the affair, however, claimed it was consensual and that he cherished her. He stated that Amelia had furnished him with attention, exhilaration he could not discover someplace else. When asked approximately his whereabouts at the night of March 20, Jason said he become at domestic gambling video games. He referred to precise games like Call of Responsibility, Current Warfare 3, which became famous on the time. However, his alibi became weak on the grounds that he turned into on my own and had no one to verify his tale. Jason's behavior in the course of the interrogation turned into erratic at instances. He was calm, but he additionally showed bursts of anger and frustration. While detectives pressed him about the affair, he became defensive, insisting he would never hurt Amelia. He talked about their relationship, describing it as passionate but no longer not violent. The police discovered Jason's nervousness suspicious and decided to go looking his domestic. They received a warrant and carried out a thorough seek-up. His room, they located numerous express love letters from Lisa and a few naked pics of them collectively. In addition, confirming their relationship, however, they did not discover any bodily proof linking Jason to the murder. Friends said seeing Jason acting surprisingly in the days following Amelia's loss of life. A few stated he seemed agitated and jumpy. Others referred to he was much less pleasant and more withdrawn than standard. The police took word of these observations, but wished extra concrete proof to make an arrest. The community became taken aback by the revelation of the affair. The once captivating boy next door changed into now underneath a cloud of suspicion. Detective Williams knew they had to dig deeper into Jason's heritage and courting with Amelia to uncover the truth. While Jason's affair with Amelia supplied a likely motive, the police nonetheless wished extra proof to hyperlink him without delay to the homicide. They persevered their investigation, knowing that solving the case required careful scrutiny of each element. The one-third suspect the police investigated became Penelope Lee's best friend and next-door neighbor. Paula, 43, became a stay-at domestic mom who shared almost everything with Amelia. She turned into also captivated with jogging the choir at their church. These days, Paula had grown suspicious of Amelia's behavior, fearing it'd have an effect on their friendship and her circle of relatives. Even though she completely ignorant of Lisa's affair together with her son Jason, Detective Isabella and Officer Leo, known as Paul, had in for wondering. Paula arrived on the station. Searching involved, however, composed inside the small interrogation room. Detective Williams asked Paula approximately her dating with Amelia. Paula spoke fondly of Amelia, describing her as a pricey pal, and assured, however, Paula admitted she had observed Amelia performing unusually in latest months and had been worried whilst asked approximately her whereabouts on the night of March 20. Paula said she turned into at home, preparing for the imminent church event. She noted particular obligations like making decorations and organizing a volunteer listing, responsibilities she should verify with different church participants. Paula's alibi regarded strong. However, the detectives pressed similarly. Detective Williams requested Paula do she knew approximately Lisa's affair with Jason. Paula turned into shocked and visibly dissatisfied. She insisted she had no idea about the affair and that she could have never condoned such behavior. Her response appeared genuine, and the detective stated her misery. The police then asked Paula if she had any motive to damage Amelia. Paula vehemently denied any motive, mentioning that she cherished Amelia like a sister and would never harm her. She became emotional, tears welling up at her eyes, and continued to disclaim any involvement in Amelia's death to corroborate Paula's alibi. The detectives interviewed other participants of the church choir. They showed that Paula had been working on church preparations that nighttime. Additionally, Buddy said seeing Paula at home in addition, assisting her account regardless of Paula's strong alibi. The police nonetheless needed to don't forget her a suspect. Due to her near dating with both Amelia and Jason, they searched Paula's residence for any proof. However, determined not anything linking her to the homicide, the community of Pinville becomes shaken as nearby news stations inclusive of WSA-TV, Charlotte's nearby information chief, said on Paula's questioning, casting suspicion on any other pillar of the community. Detective Williams and Officer Vidria persevered to analyze, knowing that Paula's strong alibi and lack of proof made it tough to link her to the crime. They needed to discover each possible angle to discover the reality behind Amelia Turner's brutal homicide at the morning of March 25, 2012. A smash within the case got here with a shocking discovery. It became a sunny day in Pinville, and Detective Isabella received a name from local resident named Leah Johnson. Leah turned into on foot her canine in a close-by park while she located a small, leather-bound journal in part buried below a bush. He fast stated it to the police, questioning it might be related to the recent murder. Detective Williams, Officer Leo rushed to the park to retrieve the journal. They carefully placed it in an evidence bag and took it again to the station for examination. The journal turned out to be a photocopy of Amelia's secret diary, however, one that became to burnt, that allows you to examine, containing exact and graphic entries about her affair with William. It additionally blanketed her thoughts and feelings, approximately her marriage and her experience of loneliness. The diary entries revealed that Amelia had been planning to give up the affair with Jason. She felt responsible about betraying her family and desired to focus on repairing her marriage and her church paintings. In addition, Amelia stated strange changes in Jason's behavior. She defined how he notioned he became lighted through the angel's light, and how we badgered her to have sex with him 12 instances. An afternoon, the closing access, dated March 19, noted her aim to fulfill Jason to break off the dating. This new proof shifted the focus of the investigation. Detective Williams and her team realized that Jason's obsession with Amelia might have driven him to homicide her when she ceased things. The diary also protected numerous entries describing how Amelia seduced Jason by bathing bare in her outside, which had a right-of-way line of sight to his bedroom. Those entries painted a calculated and worrying picture in their extreme and tumultuous courting. The police determined to deliver Jason in for, in addition, thinking they faced him with the diary entries, hoping to get a reaction. Jason initially denied the whole lot, however, whilst faced with the special descriptions of their affair, he broke down. He admitted to being in love with Lee, feeling devastated while she desired to end matters. Detective Williams noticed that Jason's conduct turned into erratic and determined to have him go through a psychological evaluation. The effects indicated that Jason is venerably struggling from an undiagnosed bipolar sickness, which could explain his excessive reactions and temper swings. This data brought a new layer to the investigation, suggesting that Jason's mental nation could have played a role within the crime. The community of Pinville became keen for solutions, and the pressure on the police to clear up the case elevated. Detective Williams and her crew persevered to peace. Collectively, the proof understanding they had been closer to uncovering the truth behind Amelia's tragic dying. Hi there, proper crime case solvers interested in greater actual lifestyles, homicide mysteries. Make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And do you have any mind about this situation, or have a case of your personal you need us to research? Leave us a comment. Stay safe. Genuine crime case solvers. On March 26, 2012, the police made a leap forward in the case after reviewing Amelia's diary and conducting a psychological assessment of William. The evidence pointed truly to him because the top suspect, Detective Isabella and Officer Mark Griot, decided it became time to carry Jason in for formal arrest. Case Burse Collins, 18, became acknowledged for his appeal and desirable seams, but the investigation revealed a darker aspect. KAS had fallen deeply in love with Amelia, and when she attempted to quit their affair, he couldn't deal with it. His undiagnosed by means of polar ailment invariably contributed to his severe reaction. Jason had become possessive and captivated with Amelia, and the thought of dropping her drove him to a suit of rage. The homicide happened at the night of March 20. Jason had gone to the Turner residence for intercourse. Knowing Henry became away on a business journey, Amelia allowed him in intending to stop. The connection, an issue ensued, escalating fast. Jason, beaten by way of his feelings, shot Amelia and then stabbed her a couple of times. The wide variety 304 carved into her stomach was a final, twisted act of manipulate. At the morning of March 26, round 10 o'clock, the police arrived at the Brace Collins home to arrest Jason. Detective Williams led the crew. They knocked at the door and Paul, a Brace Collins, spoke back, bowled over to see the police. Jason was inside, and whilst he saw the officials, he attempted to run but became speedy, apprehended. Jason's response to the arrest changed into a combination of marvel and resignation. He did not face up to, however, looked defeated, understanding his movements had stuck up with him. He changed into handcuffed and taken to the police station. All through the ride, he remained silent, staring blankly. Beforehand, the information of Jason's arrest spread speedy via Penville neighborhood television stations, which include Dose. Television suggested the tendencies the network become in shock, specifically individuals who knew Jason as the captivating boy next door. The Turner family, devastated with the aid of Amelia's loss of life, expressed remedy that the murderer were caught. They were thankful to the police for his or her tough work, but nevertheless struggled with their loss. At the police station, Jason became booked and charged with first-degree murder. He confessed to the crime during interrogation, detailing how his love for Amelia had turned into an uncontrollable obsession. He admitted that once Amelia attempted to break up with him, he snapped and killed her in a healthy of rage. Jason's arrest added some closure to the network, however. The pain of dropping Amelia lingered. Her own family and buddies attempted to move ahead, however. The memory of that tragic nighttime remained sparkling of their minds. The trial of Jason include Collins started out on July 15, 2012 at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. The court docket became full of individuals of the Pineville community, which include Amelia's own family and friends. The prosecution was led by District Lawyer Leek CTZ, a 50-hour antique pro lawyer, recognized for her tough stance on violent crimes. Leah presented a strong case detailing how Jason's obsession with Amelia had driven him to commit the homicide. Leah Castro, it's described the brutal nature of the crime, emphasizing the capturing and stabbing, as well as the quantity 304 carved into Amelia's belly. She added in forensic specialists to explain the proof gathered on the scene, including DNA and fingerprints linking Jason to the crime. She also supplied entries from Amelia's diary, which documented her affair with Jason and her planned stand-in. The defense lawyer, Luca, became a 45-year antique attorney recognized for his calm and methodical method. He argued that Jason's undiagnosed bipolar sickness played enormous function in his moves. Richard, known as in medical examiners, who testified about Jason's intellectual nation, explaining how his condition should have caused a loss of manage. He also highlighted Jason's young age and shortage of previous crook report, suggesting that he deserved leniency. In the course of the trial, Amelia's own family watched with heavy hearts. Her husband Henry and their children, Lucas, and armed forces often broke down in tears as they listened to the info of her murder. The network participants who attended the trial confirmed their assist for the Turner-owned family, hoping for justice to be served. After weeks of testimonies and deliberations, the jury reached a verdict on August 12, 2012. William changed into discovered guilty of first-degree homicide. The Chews sentenced him to lifestyles in jail without the opportunity of parole. The court becomes silent as the sentence changed into examine, and Jason showed little emotion, accepting his destiny with a blank stare. The verdict brought a sense of closure to Lee's circle of relatives and pals. However, the pain of dropping her remained. They believed the punishment changed into just given the brutality of the crime and the effect it had on their lives. The network of Pineville felt a mix of alleviation and sorrow, understanding that justice had been served, however, that they've lost a loved member in their community. Nearby news stations like LCTV included the trial, extensively highlighting the emotional adventure of the Turner family and the network's response to the decision. The trial and its outcome had been mentioned in homes, colleges, churches, as absolutely everyone tried to make sense of the tragedy that had shaken their quiet suburb. After the trial of William concluded, life in Pineville began to slowly return to ordinary, but the scars of Amelia's homicide still lingered for the Turner circle of relatives. The decision brought an experience of closure, knowing that Jason could spend the rest of his lifestyles at the back of bars, or taking Amelia far away from them. Rod Turner targeted on rebuilding his life and supporting his kids, Lucas and Melissa, who struggled with the lack of their mom. The community rallied around the Turner family, presenting support and luxury in diverse forms. Pals prepared meal trains and baby care, help easing the weight on Henry as he adjusted to being a single figure. The nearby church where Amelia had been an active member held memorial services in her honor, celebrating her life, the effect she had on others. In the meantime, Penelope confronted her very own challenges as Jason's mother, and Amelia's fine buddy Paula turned into devastated by way of the betrayal and the lack of both her son. Her closest assured she withdrew from church activities and community occasions, selecting as an alternative to awareness on assisting Jason through letters and low visits to the jail. Jason, now incarcerated at Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina, adjusted to existence at the back of bars. He received counseling and remedy for his bipolar ailment, aiming to manage his condition while serving his sentence. Even though he expressed regret for his movements, Jason understood the severity of his crime and the impact it had on Lisa's family and the network. The network of Pineville remained vigilant, but began to transport ahead, cherishing the memories of Amelia, even as searching beforehand to brighter days. The tragic activities of March 2012 had left an indelible mark, however, via team spirit and resilience. Pineville endured to be a near-knit suburb in which pals supported one some other through existence's demanding situations. Thanks for joining us in this episode of Genuine Crime Case Documents. The story of Amelia reminds us of the hidden struggles and perilous secrets and techniques that may lie beneath the surface of even the maximum reputedly ideal lives. TB in next time, as we find every other chilling story from the animals of true crime cases.